respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and invited guests and anarchurians and families, and a very, very good evening to each and every one of you. Then I am extremely happy to introduce Mr. L. Ganesh. And L. Ganesh is the chairman of the 5,313 crores company, that is Rane Group, one of the acknowledged leaders in the auto component industry. Sri L. Ganesh is a chartered accountant and also holds an MBA from the Pennsylvania State University, USA, beginning his career as a management trainee in Rane Engine Valves Limited, RVEL. In 1978, he progressively handled various responsibilities and became its vice chairman and managing director in the year 1990. Vice chairman of the group in 1994 and chairman in the year 2007. At the national level, Sri Ganesh has been an articulate spokesman for the automotive industry through his involvement with various bodies. He was president of the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association of India, ACMA, and also president of the Madras Management Association, MMA, and he was also chairman of the Confederation of Indian Industry, Southern Region. Currently, he is honorary consul for the New Zealand in South India. He was conferred with prestigious Deming Award and recognized in the year 2022 for his outstanding contribution in dissemination and promotion of total quality management. Now I request Sri Ganesh to address us.
I know some of you have had other programs during the day, and it's kind of end of the day. So I'm reminded of an incident which happened in the UK many years ago. There were three good friends in the UK who went to college together, a Chinese, an Indian, and a Britisher. So all the three of them, after graduating, got into a joint venture business in the form of a partnership. Unfortunately, they selected a business which was not strictly legal in the UK. So they all got caught very quickly, and they were hauled up before a judge. So the judge said, what you've done is a very serious crime, and all of you need to be executed because this is something to do with drugs. So execution is the punishment. So I'll grant you all one wish. So they looked at the Britisher, and he said, Your Honor, over the weekend, there is a Manchester versus Arsenal football game. I would like to watch that game, and you can execute me on Monday. So the judge looked at the Chinese guy. The Chinese guy said, Your Honor, the weekend is the time when I send all the stolen drawings from the company to my brother in China. So can I wait till Monday, and you can execute me on Monday? So the judge then looked at the Indian. The Indian said, Your Honor, I understand there is a function on Sunday in the court. I would like to speak at the function, and then you can execute me on Monday. So the Chinese and the Britisher quickly looked at the judge and said, Honor, we would like to change our wish. Would you please execute us before the Indian speaks? So I don't want to get executed in the evening when all of you have had a long day. Dignitaries on the dais, chief guest, Mr. Shivaneshan, Mr. Sanjeev Rao, Raj. I didn't realize when I got your letter that it is Raj. When I thought Raj Srinivasan, I thought it's somebody else. I know Raj for a long time, Mr. Murali Shankar, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you all for the warm felicitation. I feel honored to be recognized by NIQR, one of the leading torchbearers of the quality movement in India. Talking about TQM or quality to this audience is a bit challenging because many of you are quality professionals, or at least used to be quality professionals before taking up higher responsibilities. And talking about this subject to you makes me a little nervous. So what I thought was, I will limit myself to why in Rane we chose TQM as our path, some of the challenges we faced more from a philosophical and people angle, not the tools and techniques, and some of the learnings in the journey. The TQM journey started for us as a reaction, to be very honest. Commencing in the 90s, as you all know, the liberalization started in India. And the policy shift means the economy was opened up to global competition. So during this time was when we were also kind of coming up from a closed, licensed kind of an economy, a very closed environment where it was almost a seller's market for anything that you make. Quality was not on the forefront. Major car companies started setting up shop in India. Maruti expanded in a big way and was indicated to be privatized from being a pure government company. And many of the suppliers of these global car companies started looking at India. So while this significantly improved opportunities, this also increased the severity of competition in India. Though in Rane we had initiated several initiatives before that time, it was all in individual functions. It was in manufacturing, it was to improve supply chain, it was to improve logistics. So we did a lot of these initiatives, but the improvements were somewhat incremental and not significant. So these developments in the industry called for introspection among us in the senior management of the group. So in order to be competitive and to be on par with global standards, we recognize the need for a major shift, major improvements in quality, cost, and delivery particularly. In December 99, we invited a professor about whom we had heard a lot, one professor, Dr. Vashio, who was considered to be one of the gurus of quality in Japan. I think that day was somewhat of a watershed moment for Rane, because that completely changed our approach, completely changed what we had thought about ourselves, and changed the management philosophy. Let me explain why that happened. I think the TQM journey has been a phenomenal journey for us. We have built customer confidence, not only in India, but also globally during this period. And we saw growth which was significantly contributed to, or largely contributed, by the quality movement. And TQM is not just quality of the product, as you all know. So the business grew significantly during this period. To give you an idea, from something like $53 million at that time to about $750 million today. Exports grew from 7 million at that time to about 175 million today. The conferment of Deming prices for the companies, as Mr. Muralikrishnan mentioned, were milestones. We looked at it as milestones because the way we started, we didn't know what the journey was really about, what it entailed. So honestly, we didn't set any targets for the company saying by such and such a date you must get Deming price, because we didn't know whether we can even succeed or what it entailed. So we started the journey, brought in kind of advice and consultancy from Japan, but left it to the companies to decide, the presidents and their team to decide when they would like to challenge Deming price, whether they are ready. It is entirely up to them. From the corporate, we never forced the companies to set any targets for Deming price. Some of the challenges and issues that we faced during this journey, I would like to share with you. First was non-believers. I think TQM was so new to India at that time, we had a number of non-believers, right sometimes from the top to the bottom. Not just the workmen in the shop floor, but even some of the presidents at that time in the group did not believe in TQM. They said, what is this? Something new from Japan. We don't think it'll suit India. So that was the first challenge. The Japanese culture, to transplant that to India was not easy. The Japanese culture has several characteristics which are unique to them. I mean, some of them I just like to share with you. For example, the group dynamics. They believe in group dynamics. They believe in working together in teams, cross-functional teams, quality teams. And Indians, we have been educated and trained in the Western model, believed in individual performance, not so much in team performance. This was an issue. The unions were an issue. At that time, the unions, unlike today, were extremely strong, vociferous, and kind of, there was a divide between management and unions at that time, unlike today. And unions resisted TQM because they thought this is some devious thing brought in by management to control the workmen. Discipline was the basic need of TQM. And to be very honest, I can share among our friends that all of you are, that discipline is not a forte for Indians. So we are very brilliant, but we are not exactly disciplined. So when it came to discipline, making us work in a disciplined manner, starting from myself, was not an easy exercise. Communication, oral versus written, was something of a challenge. Many of our people were very good in talking. So when Professor Vasho used to ask, explain the problem that you have in this particular area, we used to start talking and talk for a long time. He used to get very irritated. He said, I don't want any talking. Please write on the board. It was a big challenge. Writing on the board, describing a problem, was something else. It was not at all easy, which I learned later how difficult it was. So visual communication, charts, SOPs was the only thing he would believe in. He said, don't talk, show me documents. So that was a big change. Consensus is the way they build confidence in the decision, and consensus was something which we were not used to at that time. The collective good versus individual recognition. We again are used to individual recognition, but the Japanese believe in collective good. So when a quality circle team does a presentation, they win an award, they win a reward as a group, not as an individual. This was a major shift. And of course, perseverance, and as I said, the Western model where management was supposed to design and talk about productivity, think about quality, and workmen were just supposed to do what they were asked to do. This had to be turned completely upside down. So this is something which some of my learnings I'll share, but in terms of dissemination, I mean, I'm very happy to have received this award. What we did in terms of dissemination, I thought I'll just share with you. One is all the top management executives of Rane, right from the beginning, started sharing with media, with interviews, with magazines, with vendors, with other friends in industry, even some customers. We started sharing. About 200 companies have visited Rane just to learn TQM during this period. So towards improving this sustained performance, we always felt that TQM is not something just for us to win a Deming Award. It is something which is very precious and which the entire industry can learn. So whoever wanted to get exposure to learn, we welcomed them with open arms. And this is one of the things for which probably I have been recognized, but honestly, it is a recognition for Rane and not for me as an individual. We even carry TQM into our CSR activities. We currently run a school and a polytechnic in Trichy, and we not only teach the students some basic elements of TQM, we follow 5S, we follow some daily routine management, and you will find the students at very young age are taught some cleanliness, hygiene, safety, some elements of TQM, not the whole thing. So even in our CSR activities, we think that TQM has a role to play. So some of my personal learnings, and just wanted to share before I conclude. First was, as an organization, alignment of the vision, goals throughout the organization is something which TQM facilitates to a large extent. Earlier, the promoters or if it is a purely professional company, probably the managing director and his senior team may have a vision. They may set some goals, but the entire organization is not aligned to it. And we think they are aligned, but they are not aligned to it. TQM, the way the goals are set, the way the vision is envisaged, the entire organization is aligned towards it. Investment in people. I think we realize the value of people. We, of course, used to train people. We used to think welfare of people all the time. I'm not saying it's only after the TQM, but TQM made us think that the value of the people is much more than what you see on the face of it. If you really dig deep, you find every person can contribute much more than what you think he or she can. Trust in people. I mean, to give you an example, we used to have, I started my career in engine valves. We used to have, even today, we have what is called a route card. A route card is nothing but something which follows a batch of valves along the shop floor, showing the quantity and which operation has been completed, what is to be done next. So it's a kind of an accounting register card for a batch of valves. So one day, Professor Vashio came into the shop floor and he picked up one of his route cards and said, "Why are there 6 signatures in the route card?" So nobody could answer this question. Why are there 6 signatures? Then finally everybody thought about it and told him, no, this is the shift supervisor who signed, and then it goes to the plant head, manufacturing head, then it goes to machining supervisor, then it goes to the plant head, various explanations. He said, do you mean to say you don't trust the person who has done the operation? Why do you need 6 people to sign what one man has done? So he said, I want this to be removed, no more signatures on the route card. Instead of that, I want 6 rows in that space, and every week I want to see 6 improvements that you have done in the operation in the card. So every week, 6 improvements is your homework, no more signatures. So the trust in people is something which you learn. The dignity of people. I want to share one example with you. In our Velachery plant, where we used to make, now it's just an office, we have shifted that plant to Oragadam. We used to make steering gear and ball joints, about which Mr. Murali Krishna has talked about. There was president of the company was walking around the shop floor, and one of the operators, he commended him for giving a suggestion where this operator gave a suggestion to improve the fixture, the tooling, and spent some, at that time, I think, some 40,000 or 2 lakh, I forget the number, by which the productivity of the CNC machine went up nearly double. And in those days, CNC machines were very expensive. I'm talking about the 90s, mid-90s, early 2000, not like today. So he asked him, he said, fantastic, you've done a great job. He asked him, how long have you been working in Rane Madras? So this chap said, sir, I've been here for about 18 years or so. He said, why didn't you think of such an improvement before? You know what he answered to the president? He said, nobody asked me till today. So the dignity of the people, once you kind of use the dignity, once you promote the dignity, you'll be amazed to see the kind of output that people can give. Ad hoc to systematic and strategic working, I don't have to elaborate. TQM believes in very systematic and strategic working. The data versus opinions, we, unfortunately, we were somewhat an opinionated kind of people. Because we are educated, because we are all college educated, and we are dealing with people who are not so educated, we think. So that opinionated is whenever a problem arises, immediately somebody knows the solution. I mean, if you ask them, why didn't you do it before, there's no answer, but the answer is already there. The TQM taught us that facts and not opinions matter. We don't want any opinions, we want data, we want facts. That was a great learning. There are no shortcuts. I think all of you know that whether it's in manufacturing or in life, there are no shortcuts. You have to go through the hard route. And last but not least, introducing TQM or even winning a Deming Prize was easier than sustaining TQM. So we started the journey, as I said, in 2000. Today it is 23. For 23 years, sustaining TQM has been the biggest challenge. We have found some solutions to that, but I thought I should say that introducing is much easier than sustaining. It has been a significant experience for me. I strongly advocate TQM for Indian companies. For the foreseeable future, technology is not going to be our contribution. However, operational excellence can be used to grow our economy, especially with the dominant contribution of manufacturing. The geopolitical conditions have created an opportunity for India. We should capitalize on this, and I think the current government at the center is very keen to encourage this. They're doing a lot to encourage this. We should capitalize on this. TQM can be a powerful tool to accomplish this, but the real benefit of TQM can be realized only when we adopt the same as a way of life. I also commend NIQR for their service in the quality movement. It is a very critical mission, and I wish you all the very best in your efforts. Thank you.
We have now the pleasant task of honoring the Deming winners. I request President Mr. Murli Shankar to kindly honor Mr. Ganesh. With that.